Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 55 degrees outside here at the farm this morning, and I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day yesterday. Here in our area, the last couple of days, farmers were able to get back out in the fields and continue to push on with this planting season. But it looks like that might get cut short as we have some weather coming in later today. We'll have a full forecast update for you shortly. A quick calendar reminder, the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have their bred cow sale Friday at 6 p.m. To learn more, you can find that at jcrlm.com, your livestock authority. Well, on the heels of Thursday's report released by the Make America Healthy Again Commission, industry organizations are calling for science-based agriculture policy. In a statement, the Modern Ag Alliance said the report raises the possibility that the federal government could take a position to restrict farmers' access to crop protection tools, undermine existing science-based framework, and ultimately jeopardize the affordability and security of the U.S. food supply. Farmers are also facing a host of challenges. Uncertainty about their access to critical crop protection products shouldn't be added to the list. Crop protection tools are not only safe, they are essential to food security, affordability, and the survival of farm families across the country. Losing access to these critical inputs would be a devastating setback to American agriculture. Well, this spring, farmers once again facing challenges in planting crops due to uneven rainfall and cool, wet conditions. While some have made progress during a brief warm stretch in April, others are still struggling to begin planting. These weather conditions favor slugs, which thrive in cool, damp environments and target slow-growing crops, especially soybeans. Damage from slugs is severe once seedlings emerge, as they destroy the cotyledons, killing the plant. Fields with weeds or cover crops provide ideal habitats for slugs. Research from universities across the United States indicate that insecticides may even worsen slug problems by killing beneficial predators like ground beetles and spiders. In Virginia and Pennsylvania, up to 25% of soybean fields are affected annually, but experts suggest insecticides are rarely necessary. Baits are another option, but have limited effectiveness and environmental risks if washed in the waterways. Integrated management strategies work best. These include early or delayed planting, vegetation control, soil drying through rotary hose, or using residue managers. To learn more, you can find this full article at ohioagnet.com. Now let's check in with Brianna Smith for this week's Between the Rows.
This week's Between the Rows update is brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct. Seed Genetics Direct, business with a handshake, not a 3-year contract. Planting progress across the state is incredibly varied due to the late May rain events. Some farmers are nearing completion while others are still waiting to put seed in the ground. Let's check in with Jade Newton in Preble County.
Southwest Ohio is pretty wet at the moment. We've got more rain here in the last few days. We get a good stretch and we're able to get more crops in the ground and closer to being wrapped up. People are out post-spraying as well, getting some stuff cleaned up. And everybody, for the most part, I believe, has started planting, and some guys are even wrapped up.
Next, we'll check in with Dale Miller in the Wayne County area.
It depends on which area you're in. I mean, we've got areas that's made a lot of progress. I mean, there's some areas that's gotten a fair amount of corn planted. It's been a lot like the last several years. There's some acres that guys are able to get on. There's some acres that still are laying wet, tighter soils that guys are waiting on. Corn that was planted early looked yellow, but stands look good. There is a fair amount of issues in some of the early planted beans.
For more details from this week's Between the Rows update, visit ohioagnet.com. For Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet, I'm Brianna Smith.
Hey, thanks, Brianna, for the update. Stay tuned. We'll be back with today's weather after this.
Those long days in a tractor cab can really put a cramp in your body. So while refueling or refilling your equipment, walk around the tractor a few times or do a few head-to-toe stretching exercises. When fatigue does set in, that's when injuries and mistakes happen. Know when it's time to take a break and recharge. Let's make sure everyone gets home safe and sound. This message from the Ohio AgNet, OSU Extension Ag Safety and Health Team, and this station.
Diane from Michigan, a disabled senior citizen trying to get by. Henry from Florida, a veteran fighting to make ends meet. Elena from Arizona, a mother struggling to feed her daughter. Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year, like Diane, Henry, and Elena. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
You're tuning in on the Ohio AgNet. Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
We've got a little moisture trying to head toward the Ohio area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update for you. I think most of your Tuesday is dry, but we've been watching over the past 24 hours or so a system trying to exit the Central Plains and move eastward. It's got two waves to it, a southern feature and a northern feature. The southern feature is going to be threatening southern parts of Ohio this afternoon. I won't even rule out a few hit-and-miss scattered showers there, but the bulk of our heavier activity seems to want to stay in Kentucky and Tennessee. So from I-70 southward this afternoon, probably watching clouds increase, and maybe we see a few hit-and-miss scattered showers. After sunset tonight, the northern feature starts to rotate into Indiana and lift through Ohio. That's where we see better coverage, a few hundredths to probably 3/4 of an inch, with coverage around 75% of the Buckeye State. We get wet, but I don't think we see a large-scale big batch of moisture out of this. That seems to want to rain itself out farther west and south. So definitely seeing some moisture hold through Wednesday. Clouds start to break up overnight Wednesday night. We are dry and pleasant for Thursday and for Friday. Overnight Friday night into early Saturday morning, probably watching for a few hit-and-miss scattered showers to come south out of Michigan and the Great Lakes. A few hundreds to a few tenths, but it's done and gone by midday Saturday. And we are dry for the balance of Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and then through the first half of next week. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, a new Rabo research report says pork prices have rebounded and remain strong despite shifting trade flows and growing economic and consumer uncertainties. Rising geopolitical tensions have had a limited impact on global pork markets, but they are likely to redirect global trade volumes in the coming months. Despite the agreement between the United States and China to reduce tariffs for 90 days, the added tariffs on U.S. pork could still curtail trade. Given the uncertainty surrounding future U.S. trade policy, investment in U.S. pork sector expansion is expected to slow, while other regions may see slightly faster growth, said Christy McCracken, senior analyst of animal protein at Rabo Research. Pork prices have rebounded, driven a tighter hog supply due to limited growth in the sow herd and ongoing health and productivity challenges. We expect limited demand improvement for the rest of the year, McCracken said. Higher beef and poultry prices may offer some support. While the recent Consumer Price Index data for April shows a welcome moderation in overall inflation, cooling to its slowest annual rate since early 2021. Despite that, many families continue to feel the pinch at the grocery store and while dining out. In April, consumer prices rose 0.2% from the previous month, slowing to the annual inflation rate from 2.4 to 2.3%. The data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics was surprisingly as many expected ongoing trade disputes and tariffs to push prices higher. FarmDoc Daily from the University of Illinois says food prices have risen 29.5% since December of 2019, leading to nationwide consumer frustration with prices and affordability. Food prices in April decreased 0.1% from the previous month, but are 2.7% higher than a year ago. Food away from home prices rose 0.4% last month, and prices for food at home declined by 0.4%. Well, the big beautiful bill, the name of the reconciliation package passed along party lines by the House of Representatives on May 22nd, includes about $267 billion in spending cuts to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program over a 10-year period. The legislation severely cuts and alters implementation of SNAP and other programs that meet people's basic needs, including Medicaid, the Alliance to End Hunger said in a news release. SNAP is the largest federal nutrition program in the United States, serving 42 million individuals in need of food assistance. The legislation, if passed in the Senate, would mark the largest cut to SNAP in the program's history, according to the Alliance to End Hunger. The coalition said it is deeply opposed to the legislation and urges the Senate to reject the bill. The Senate is expected to make changes to the House plan, possibly on SNAP, Medicaid, and deficit savings. Well, the Agriculture Secretary is among those talking with federal, state, and local entities in the efforts to address mental health challenges in the rural and farm sectors.
stress at the farm level.
The suicide rate with our farmers is similar to our veterans, and it's stunningly and heartbreakingly high.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins recently at a Nebraska event discussing National Mental Health Awareness Month. She said on conversations with Veteran Affairs Secretary Douglas Collins on the matter,
He and I have talked about this. You'll be seeing more on this, and you'll be seeing us rolling things out.
additional efforts in rural and farm level mental health issues are being conducted through USDA, state and local level collaboration.
We've already put together with our incredible ag commissioners, really working to support the innovative ideas on some of the most important issues facing our farmers and ranchers, and this is certainly one of them.
With the Secretary encouraging submission of rural mental health models and resources from rural citizens and the farm sector. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Rod, for the update. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
So many things that can have an impact on agriculture are out of the farmer's control. Yet when the weather doesn't cooperate, markets go lower, or equipment breaks down, the farmer blames themselves. Hi, I am Nathan Brown, a Highland County farmer and a member of the Ohio Farm Bureau Board of Trustees. If you or someone you know is struggling with stress on the farm, text 4HOPE to 741-741 or go visit gotyourbackohio.org. A message from the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation.
Now for today's market analysis, which is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets were closed through the day Monday in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. As we get back to trade here, several stories to pay attention to. First of all, we have the biggies. Crop progress report that comes out later this afternoon, expected to show a fairly decent increase in planting progress in some areas, but we did not see a whole lot get taken care of in the central to eastern Corn Belt due to moisture that came through and caused some delays last week. So a marginal increase. We're down to the last 25-30% of the crop nationally that needs to get in the ground, and there was concern in the marketplace through last week that this was going to be a longer term delay, but the weather does seem to be getting a little bit better in parts of the nation here this week. We have an active precipitation pattern coming across the northern plains and into the Great Lakes, but the systems are faster moving, not sitting and staying in certain places. So that's number one. Issue number two is going to be the crop condition scores. We'll get our first good to excellent ratings on corn this week. Expectations are for us to be in that 75% good to excellent range. I think we can maybe be even a little bit better than that. So those are the biggies on the crop side. As always, any headlines on tariffs, the European tariff idea that Trump floated last Friday really kind of got the market set on its ear a little bit. I haven't heard anything more on that through the weekend, but we will see what comes out today. The last thing I want to bring up here, cattle on feed came out on Friday, and the cattle on feed report should be seen relatively neutral to slightly bullish on cattle. But if it's bullish, what are the reasons why? Well, the on feed numbers and the placement numbers are down, especially year on year. So we're not building a lot of feed demand. The cattle on feed report may be seen as a slight pressure to grains as we get started this week. Very, very slight. I'm grasping at straws. It's almost like calling the dollar index a reason for the grain markets to move. It's not really, but it doesn't, in this case, help with any kind of overall bullish thought on grains. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight markets brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Well, things are mixed in Chicago. Let's start off with July corn, 4.59 3/4, up a quarter. December new crop corn, 4.49 3/4, down a penny. July soybeans, 10.64, up 3 3/4. November soybeans, 10.54, up 3.5. July wheat, 5.41 3/4, down 3/4. Now looking in livestock from Friday's close, June live cattle 215.80, up 17 cents. August live cattle 210.45, down 5 cents. June lean hogs 98.30, down 40 cents. July lean hogs 101.55, down 50 cents. September feeder cattle 299.35, up 72 cents. And October feeder cattle 297.35, up 90 cents. Thanks for joining us and have a great day, everyone. And if you're out in the fields today, Be safe out there. I'm Joe Everett, and you're listening to the Ohio AgNet.